and welcome back to another All Heart video. Today we are going to be talking all about board games and their educational value. I feel like a lot of Montessori families don't really go into detail about any board games that they introduce to their children, but I feel like board games have such a great educational value and they're such a great educational resource that I feel like parents should really start including this into their curriculum. Board games allow children to take on a more hands-on approach, and it also allows children to take in information in a more concrete way. It's one thing to hear or watch something, but we do learn on a deeper level when we are able to integrate our listening and our watching with using our hands. Games are also a fun way for toddlers to explore anything that they're interested in at the time. When toddlers show a particular interest in something, it is known as a sensitive period. And a sensitive period is just a period of time when your child is more attuned to learning different things, different skills, because they are incredibly interested in mastering that particular task or skill. So examples would be if they are showing an interest in movement or language or math or anything like that, that would be known as a sensitive period. So for example, when your child keeps mimicking you and parroting everything that you're saying, including words that you would rather them not repeat, this is known as a sensitive period for language. So introducing games that would help introduce new words would be the perfect game for them to be able to explore that sensitive period. So let me give you an example of a really good game that I like to introduce to my toddler. My little girl is 2 years old. She will be 3 very, very soon. Unfortunately, they just grow up so fast. But this game is perfect for developing that language skill. So the game is called I Spy, Dig In, Find It game. This game is a lot of fun for toddlers. Just make sure that they are at that age group where they are not putting things in their mouths, because there are a lot of little pieces. Now, this game includes all of these little pieces that you pour into this bowl that is included, and they give you a few different cards indicating the pictures that they are supposed to find. There is a timer in there. We don't usually use the timer for my littlest just because it's going to take her a little bit longer to find some of the pieces, but it's a wonderful introduction to language because they are able to not only identify what each of the pieces are, but they are also identifying the colors. On the cards, you'll see that they give you one side which is black and white, and the other side is colored. So they have to find not only the particular shape and figure, but they also have to find the right color of that figure. So this is a really fun game for your child, and again, such a wonderful educational tool for language. So the next game I have for you is called Zingo, and this game is just like bingo. And I believe that they offer a few varieties of this game. I believe there is one that has numbers, and there is another one that has sight words. So if your child is a little bit older, then maybe the one to identify sight words would be a good option for you. So the one that we chose is the one that has individual little pictures just like this, and they offer this side and then they offer a green side. Now, I don't see a level of difficulty as far as the colors. I feel like both of the colors are the same as far as difficulty level, but this is a wonderful tool for language. They have to identify the little pictures, they have to verbally say what each of them are, and then they use their hand and eye coordination in order to fit the little colored picture tabs onto each particular slot. So this is such a fun game. And actually my son was introduced to this game during one of his speech therapy sessions, and we absolutely fell in love with it. So it's a very good educational tool. So again, this one's called Zingo. So the next game that I have for you is perfect for your little toddler, and it is called the Sneaky Snacky Squirrel game. This game is so much fun, and let me show you some of the pieces that it comes with. So it comes with this little squirrel squeezer, and it's just like these little, I guess like little tongs, and they're used to pick up all of the little acorns so that you could transfer them over to your little tree. And the little tree pieces look like this. So they have to be able to work their gross motor skills. They have to do color recognition and number recognition. These are the little acorns. They're a decent size, but again, if your toddler is putting little things in their mouth, then I suggest that you try a game that doesn't have so many little loose pieces. And it also comes with the little spinner. It teaches them about social skills, waiting their turn, being patient, and like I said, hand-eye coordination and perfecting their gross motor skills by utilizing the little squirrel squeezer. So this is a favorite in this house, and I think this will become a favorite in your house as well. The next game I have for you, perfect for a toddler, would be HiHo Cheerio. Again, just make sure that your toddler is old enough to not fit any of these in their mouth, because the little apples are incredibly small and very easy to swallow. So just be warned. But this is such a fun game. Now in this game, you are allowed to play up to 3 players, and you are given a different color tree. And I believe there is a red, a green, and a blue tree that you can pick the apples from. You are also given this little spinner. So this is wonderful to have your child basically learn how to kind of flick their little hand or use their finger to rotate the little spinners. So it's really good for their gross motor skills. And because they have to be able to pick the apples, it's very good for their hand and eye coordination. There is color recognition and counting as well. So this is a very good educational game, and maybe it'll find its way under your Christmas tree this year. So this is another favorite in our house. It's called I Never Forget a Face. And again, I believe there are different versions of this, but this is such a wonderful way for children to be able to explore all of the different nationalities, all of the ways that all of the children are different and yet the same. And it's just such a wonderful cultural activity. So this is a matching game, and it gives you 2 different cards for each of the little different children that you see. And you just turn them upside down on the table, and the children are able to kind of pick and choose up to 2 cards at a time to see if they are able to find a match. This is perfect for toddlers. This is one of my daughter's favorite little games, and she is incredibly good at finding the matches for this. So again, I Never Forget a Face, really great matching game. The next game I have is also appropriate for your toddler, and this one is a lot of fun, and it is relatively new to our collection, and it is called Pop the Pig. And this is a game that I didn't even know existed, and it was gifted to us, but this is such a fun game. So this is perfect for color matching, number identification, and also counting. So the object of the game is obviously to feed this little pig, and he obviously eats way too much. And when his little belly kind of pops and his little belt pops open, that's when you know that you've won and you've fed the pig enough food. So they are learning to identify colors, they are learning to identify numbers, and then they feed that to the pig. And then again, to reinforce that number that they found, they have to slightly press on the pig's head the corresponding number that they got, and that'll make his belly slightly expand. So again, it is such a funny game. It is so much fun. And again, there are so many things to learn from this game. So this one's called Pop the Pig. So this game is called Kids Scavenger Hunt, and it comes with a pack of 3 different sets of cards. So I believe that the individual cards, there's a set of cards that you could play with when you're at home, a set of cards that you can play with when you are outside. So this is a really fun game to play when you are outside, perhaps on your daily walk. And it's a really good, again, like tool for observation. And there is also one, if you are taking a very long road trip, there is also a deck of cards here for when you are traveling. So we like to play this one when we are going outside or when we are playing at home. And this is a game that even your toddlers can get involved in. So they turn the card around and they obviously have to go on a scavenger hunt of your house to be able to find all of these things. So again, it's very good for language development. It's very good for identifying certain objects, and it also produces movement because they're running around from room to room trying to find all of these little things. So this game, it says for ages 6 and up. I do see why they would say that. Some of the cards are a little bit more difficult for, I would say, a toddler to be able to find some of these things. But I think that there are enough cards that you can modify and perhaps just choose some of the easier ones for your toddlers that they would have fun playing this game too. So this is called Kids Scavenger Hunt, and I believe my husband found this game at Target. Now, I'm sure that you're very familiar with this game. It is a crowd favorite, and this is called Candyland. Now, this one I would definitely introduce when they are just a little bit older, perhaps more at the 3 age range, and that is actually the age that is recommended for this. My daughter is 2.5, and she does pretty well with counting. But because the individual slots on the game board are a little bit thin, sometimes it's difficult for her to kind of move her pieces into that particular space. However, she does still manage to do it. And again, it does help with their gross motor skills and their hand and eye coordination. It does allow for color recognition because they do have to follow this rainbow trail all the way up to Candyland. It's a really, really fun game. And they are not only learning counting and color recognition, but they are also learning to identify some of these wonderful, yummy desserts. So again, it's really good for that language development as well. The next game I have is Chutes and Ladders. This one I would definitely recommend for a little bit of an older child. It does say 3 or older. I think that's a pretty good base point. And the reason for that is because, again, the spaces in between the ladders are a little bit tough to fit your individual little person that you are given at the beginning of the game. It also encourages them to count. However, they are counting up to 100. So that might be a little bit more challenging for them to do. And they are also having to move forward and backwards. So again, it's a little bit of a more difficult concept. It's a little bit more challenging to play if you have younger toddlers. But again, depending on where your toddler is at in their development, this might be the perfect game for them. I found that this game was a little bit more challenging for my daughter, and so she wasn't having as much fun with this one. But again, only you know your child best, so if you feel like this is something that would be good for them, then I do recommend it. So the next game that I have for you is a crowd favorite as well, and it is just Tic Tac Toe. And this is one that we picked up at Target during Halloween, I believe, and that's why it's in the shape of a pumpkin, but we still bring it out and we still play with it. Now, this game is more, I would say, depending on how you utilize this game, but if you're going to be playing with strategy in mind, then it's probably not going to be the game for your toddler. However, my daughter does like to play with it because she does recognize the shapes. She does recognize when she is given just one particular pattern. And it's also really good for them to develop a lot of those social skills. So skills like being patient, skills like being able to learn how to take turns, how to be a good winner or a good loser if you happen to, you know, not be the winner in that case. So there are a lot of social skills that you learn with every one of these games. And I think that is a useful tool for them to learn while they're young. So the very next game that I have for you is called ABC Letter Game. Now this is a very good introduction to all of the letters, but it also goes deeper than that. And it does come with the big game board, the little spinner, and the individual cards with the characters, so that you're able to either identify like the uppercase of a letter or which one is the lowercase of a particular letter, the rhyme scheme, also figuring out the phonetics of the words. So they will say like, this word starts with the letter K, 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 and there would be like a cat on the board, and they would point to the cat because the cat starts with the sound K. And so again, this is a very good literacy game, and it also helps to develop those social skills. So ABC letter game, Super Y. So now we're getting into games that are a little bit more of a challenge. They're going to be more for an older age group. Now, my son is 5.5, but he loves games that have a lot of strategy behind. And again, because they are obviously very, very talkative at this point, games that require a lot of language and description are perfect games to introduce. So this game is called Headbands. So each child is given an individual headband and an individual card that they are not able to see. So the way that you win at this game is being able to identify or being able to guess what card you are holding by the descriptions that somebody else is giving you. So this is perfect for developing like long sentences, descriptive sentences. It's a very good language game. And it also helps to identify each of the different characteristics of the pictures that they are having to identify. This one they recommend for ages 7 and up. I think that's a little high. I would definitely recommend this game for ages 5 and above, but this is a very, very fun game. So going along those lines of having to be descriptive and use your words, use long sentences and complete sentences, I would definitely recommend Guess Who. This is a favorite for a reason, and this is a game that the entire family will play. My daughter is still too young to play this, but my son and I always have a blast playing this game. So the object, obviously, of this game is to be able to identify the person that you are given at the beginning of the game. So you are able to use the process of elimination to figure out what card the other person is holding. So again, you have to be descriptive with your word, you have to use complete sentences, and it really allows for a lot of observation because they do have to be specific eventually with the characteristics of each of the little characters in the game. This allows for a lot of movement, and it is a lot of fun, and it becomes pretty hysterical at times. So this is a game that could involve the entire family. This one says for ages 4 and up. I would say that's pretty accurate. You may be able to give some of the easier ones, especially if it's like trying to mimic an animal. Perhaps your son or daughter knows how to kind of act out some of these different cards. So if that's the case, then I would definitely recommend this for some of your younger toddlers, especially if they have a lot of energy. This is a very fun game. So we are coming down to our very last games. Again, if your child is very into strategy, or I like to play this with my daughter as well. So like I said, my daughter is 2, but this is really good for working on those gross motor skills and that hand and eye coordination, because she does have to fit the individual pegs on top of the slot. And if you've played this game before, you know that the slot is pretty thin. So they do kind of have to be precise where they're placing the little coins. Now, she obviously doesn't understand strategy and what the object of the game is. All she wants to do is wait her turn, take her turn, and be able to fit the slot wherever she wants. And that is just fine with me because, again, it helps in refining those skills. Now, for my son, he loves playing this one, and he has gotten very good at trying to figure out where to place all of these coins in order for him to connect 4. So depending on where your child is at, this may be the perfect game for you. The next game I have is operation. Talk about the perfect game for gross motor skills and hand and eye coordination. Now, I have mentioned a lot when we are in my playroom that we like to use like the little tongs in order to work on those gross motor skills and, you know, that pinching motion. So this is a very good game in order to work on that skill. And it obviously presents itself as a lot more fun because it does buzz and his nose does light up every time that you touch the barrier of where that little piece is. Now, I do recommend this one for older children. I would say perhaps 3 and older. This one says ages 6 and older, but I feel like depending on how you want to play with it, this could be a game that you could introduce to your toddler, so long as they are not placing any of the little pieces in their mouth, and they are able to kind of work and refine that little pinching motion with their hands. So again, it's a lot of fun. They are able to identify all of the little pieces that are inside of our patient here. So again, it's very good for language development as well. So that is it, guys. I hope that this information was useful, and hopefully some of these games are going to make it into your home this year for Christmas. There are so many benefits to being able to play games with your children, and they are going to learn so much from it. I know that a lot of times you think that a game is just a game, but they are such little sponges for information. So they are going to be absorbing all of this information while they're playing. So I really hope that I've kind of convinced you to possibly invest in a few more games for your household. So if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe to join our small family. Thank you to everybody who has subscribed already. You guys have been so amazing this past year. And please remember to hit that little notification bell so that you are notified of when I post that very next video. With that, I will go ahead and leave you. Merry Christmas, happy holidays. Please be safe out there. Remember to wear your masks when you are out in public to keep your family and others safe. And I will see you back next week. Bye.